do it. All right, I think we're live. Let me just test it out on Cello Devs to make sure it's live and working. Oh, yep, we're on. We're on. Hopefully people come on by. So yeah, well, this is exciting. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. For anyone who's new here, I am Sophia. I lead developer relations at Cello, and you are now live on our builder stage. So our builder stage is where we highlight really cool things that you can build on Cello. And today we'll be talking about Cello Composer, Cello MCP, and how you can vibe code. So having no experience coding, just using prompts and AI, using Thirdweb to use pre-deployed smart contracts, all of that fun stuff, and create a full stack app from scratch. So lots of very exciting stuff. And I'll pass it to you, Beryl. I want to introduce yourself and yeah.
Yep. Hey everyone, thanks for joining. This is Viral. I've been at Cello Foundation for over 3 years now. I'm in developer relations team working with Sophia, and I can't wait to see what we are working right now. And yeah, we can get started.
Yeah, go ahead and get started. And then, hi everyone who's coming in from YouTube, and also feel free to comment if you have any questions or anything in the chat, and I'll just go ahead and share them out here. If you're watching on Twitter or on X, go ahead. You can find the YouTube. On YouTube, you can actually leave comments and chat with us directly. It's a little bit easier. But yeah. All right.
Awesome. Can you share my screen? Awesome. Cool. So I just want to share what we are going to build in this workshop today. So we are going to vibe code an application which has a really good wallet integration inbuilt with just one line of prompt. Like you don't need to understand what is Thirdweb, or you don't need to understand how to basically give authentication to your application. It can be using, let's say, third-party OAuth like Google, Facebook, Apple, or it can be through a phone number or an email address, or it could be via MetaMask. You don't need to figure out how to do that stuff, because if I've seen all the projects basically starts with this problem, and it take them around 1 or 2 days to figure out if they're an experienced developer on how to basically add all this authentication system so that people can basically connect with their application and then build on top of it or use the application. So one really cool solution is Thirdweb, and Thirdweb provides wallet. And Thirdweb wallets are really good. Like it gives you inbuilt features like connecting with Google and all this authentication system. And it can allow you to connect your MetaMask or any third-party wallets. And yeah, it allows you to do gas list transactions, sponsor the gas, do account recovery, everything you want. And you can actually have a really good dashboard that you can see and yeah, manage your users. So the very first thing we'll do is let's go into our empty directory. So you can see I have an empty directory here. I'll just open cursor. And yeah, once we have cursor open, we don't have any files. What we need to install is Cello Composer MCP. If I go into cursor settings, and you can go into tools and integration, and you can see I have one tool called Composer Kit MCP. And I would tell you how you can install it. If you don't have anything here, you'll have an option called New Server. Click on that, and you'll open this file. And you can add MCP server here, but I would show you an easy way to do it. You can just go to, basically there are two ways to do it. You can directly go to GitHub and open this GitHub repository. It's called Composer Kit MCP. Or you can just go to PyPI. That's the official Python package repository, and you can just say Composer Kit MCP. And you can find the first one here. And you can find the installation steps, how to use it, what it supports, and stuff like that. But what we are interested in is this configuration. You can just copy this 4 lines. That's all you need. And you can just paste those lines here. And you have the Composer Kit MCP install, and that's easy. Once you come back here, it will auto detect that you have this tool, and it will show you all the tools that it has access to. If you want to know more about how to vibe code an UI application, we have done a lot of workshop in the past where you can see like we're using Composer Kit UI to create custom buttons, custom UI components. But for this workshop, we're going to focus on creating a new project which has the whole authentication system inbuilt. And I just wanted to show how easy it is. So just a new blank project. And once we have the MCP server on, we can have just one prompt saying create a Cello project using Cello Composer. Use Thirdweb SDK for wallets. And that's all. Like you don't need to understand Thirdweb documentation. You don't need to understand how it works. Just writing this line or this word, it's done. Like whenever the project is created, it will have those packages installed, and we make sure that all the packages are always up to date. So you don't get any outdated dependencies or dependency mismatches. If you want, optionally, we can say, I also want hard hat, let's say. Project name, we can say Hello Builder Stage. And that's all.
Yeah, as we wait for this, we can say, I know there's some people who are installing the Composer Kit MCP and it was still had the red dot, meaning it wasn't properly installed. Some things that you can check is you'll have to close out your cursor and then reinstall, like reopen your cursor is like a big one. And then it's using the command UVX to install. And so if you're completely new to coding, sometimes your computer doesn't have the right packages created to actually like it to actually process and then call the MCP. So that's just like a good call out to make sure that you have the right packages installed. It'll be the pip packages. I personally
That's
felt
a
like
good call.
yeah, that's a good.
If you face any issue, like if you're a new developer, what you need is UV. It's a package. So you can just Google UV install. And you can find this first link by Astral. They are the author of this package. It's like Yarn or PNPM for Python. UV is a really good tool if you're like building in Python. I highly recommend to use UV. And you can just copy this link, paste it in terminal anywhere, press enter, and it will install UV and UVX. And if you notice, we are using UVX. So you will definitely need this. And it's really easy. Just running this command in your terminal will install UV and UVX. And yeah, if you're facing the red dot issue that Sophia mentioned, then yeah, that is the way you want to do it.
Yep, that's a good call out because some people might not have that package installed on their computer right now.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so moving forward, after making an MCP call, our code editor is trying to run a command that is npx Solo Composer latest. And this is the first video we are using Solo Composer version 2, which is the most sophisticated, robust CLI that we have just launched. And it has a lot of different options. And one of the wallet provider you can choose is Thirdweb now. For context, it's automatically detected that we want hard hat and a small description that it has added. You can basically change it anytime you want. But yeah, just running this should install all the packages, like all the dependencies required, and we'll create a new project for you. Okay, so if you're running this for the first time, it will take a few seconds because the CLI tool is not installed. So internally, it will install the latest version of the CLI, and then it will install the project. Okay, so we can see it started building something. Cool. It's also installing all the packages, so I can see node modules. Let's see. So it's a mono repo where you have a web application which has Thirdweb installed, and it has a hardhat project, and this has all the latest hardhat dependencies. With web application, you can see it has an env template, and if you open env template, you can see that it's asking for Thirdweb client ID, right? And you can fetch your Thirdweb client ID from this link. So what I usually do is go into thirdweb.com and create an account. It's free, like you can literally create an account in a few seconds. Once you have created an account, so this is a piece which you cannot wipe code because you'll have to get your client key from the account. Let's just do create a project. For this workshop, I'll just allow all the domains, but in your case, you want to allow only your domain. So yeah, it's more secure. Yeah, just proceed. Yeah, it's showing my secret key and client ID. I'll just delete this project after the workshop, so yeah, it's okay. Okay, so once I have my client ID, I can just copy it and put it here, and that's all. So we saw that it has installed all my dependencies as well, and I have added my credential. Oh, wait, I need to create a YNV file from this. Okay, so you'll have to copy the template to create a new YNV file and then paste in the client ID. Okay, so once you have the ENV file, and I would highly recommend you to do the ENV file manually and not ask Claude to change your ENV files. Because first of all, if you have your ENV files inside Git ignore, as we have, Claude or Cursor will not touch the files because they will like ignore the files. And secondly, it's good practice that you don't give access to your credentials to a LLM. So yeah, once we have added the files, it's actually ready to go. You can just do pnpm. Okay, let's go into the folder first, and I can do pnpm tab. Mind it, I'm using Turbo, so it basically manages all the different mono repos. So let's say tomorrow you decided to add a backend, you can just add a new backend here, and Turbo will make sure that every project runs together. And yeah, I think we should be good. Let's open localhost 3000. It might take few seconds to build the first time. And there we go. So you have a project, which is your project name. You can read the seller documentation if you want to know more anything. And you have a connect button. And this connect button is basically the whole authentication system. You can click on here and you can see the whole authentication. You can click on Google login, Apple, Facebook. You can go into the settings in your code, or you can just actually write code. You can say like, I want to allow login with Discord or with Firecaster. And yeah, your vibe coding agent will make those changes in the code, and you'll have a new option of, let's say, Firecaster login tomorrow. And if you want to have a normal authentication, you can click on this, login with MetaMask. And yeah, you're logged in. It's as simple. Or let's do Google as well. And when you create an account with Google, Thirdweb will automatically create a new account for you, which your user can actually export the private keys or link more profiles to it. We can view all the Cello assets, all the NFTs. And yeah, you can actually directly click on buy, use your credit card to buy more tokens. And yeah, all these features that you don't have to worry about while creating a new project. And the good thing about Thirdweb is if you go to their, okay, if you go to their panel on the wallet side, you can actually see all the users. Okay, so yeah, it shows me that I have 3 users. You can click on the user section. And yeah, I used my email address. It has created a new account. And in the settings, you can basically use SMS for login. You can use email authentication. Everything you can set it up really easy. And yeah, I think that's how easy it is to use Cello Composer with Thirdweb. Any questions, Sophia, so far?
Yeah, no, we had a few about how to get this information. All of it is on our docs. So feel free to go to docs, build on Cello, and then there's a Cello MCP tab. And then in general too, I think some people are interested. So Thirdweb, what's great about Thirdweb is they have some pre-deployed Thirdweb contracts that are already made. And so often when you're vibe coding and you ask it to like write your own contract, there can be some security issues as it's like creating contracts. But if you use existing contracts, like all of here you can like an NFT drop, you can deploy with zero code, right? You just like click on this deploy. You can write literally like what's the image you want in your NFT, what do you want it to be called, the recipients, all that stuff that typically, if you were trying to write an NFT contract, you're coding all of this. This makes it so that you can just deploy these contracts straight onto Celo or Celo Alpha Juarez just from there, from Thirdweb. Maybe if we have time, we can talk about how to actually use these contracts within your Celo app with these
Yes,
sounds.
so it's really simple. The moment you deploy a smart contract, you can basically you get an contract address and an ABI that you can provide it inside your
Yeah, maybe
code,
let's
and you
try
can
with like a
yeah.
ERC20 token like contract because the NFT
Uh,
is more.
let's do some. Let's get the brand kit and use Seller logo as an image.
Okay.
Cool. Let's download this. Okay, in Thirdweb, we can upload an image. Let's go to download. Okay. Okay, wait. Okay, we have the image. Let's name it Hello Builder Stage Demo. Symbol. Let's leave the description empty. We have a recipient address. That's okay. And yeah, that's all. Just an image, a name is more than enough. You can click on deploy.
I love the royalties piece because then you can get a little piece every time someone buys your NFT. You can set your royalties maybe like 50% if you really wanted.
Cool. Okay, so this account does not have any funds to deploy. Okay. Give me a minute. I'll stop sharing. I'll add some funds and we can continue later.
Great. So as I'll add some funds, feel free to add any questions down here, but definitely go check it out on that Thirdweb Explore page. There's tons of different contracts that you can use. And if you're completely new to coding apps or completely new to, to just coding apps in general, definitely encourage you to use pre-deployed smart contracts. So what this means is you'll be using this existing smart contract as your logic of your app. Like say you have an NFT deployment, or you have some payments that you want to do at a certain time, or you're launching a token. You can do this all on Thirdweb, launch it, no code, and have a really secure smart contract. And then you can use Celo Composer Kit in the MCP to make your UI on top of that app. So we have all of these great components that you can use, plug and play into your app. You can vibe code all of that front end. And when you're vibe coding that front end on top of very safe pre-deployed smart contracts, it makes for a really good and very secure app. And that's why we were really excited about vibe coding on-chain applications. If you've ever tried vibe coding a Web2 app, you'll probably know you have to host a whole backend. You have to store your user data, all of that stuff. But when you're coding on-chain apps, your user data is the user's wallet, so it's all kind of public. They can log in with their wallet, and your logic can be pre-deployed smart contracts that you just find from Thirdweb, and it makes it just really easy to vibe code. So there's lots of opportunities here for builders.
Awesome. I have added the funds.
Yay. Add you back whenever. All right, ready to add back to stage your screen?
Yep. Cool. Okay, so let's give a name, the symbol, and where you need to add funds is basically your account because this is the recipient address. So you just copy, this is your logged in account. Whenever you create an account with Thirdweb, they create an account for you. So just copy this account. I've just added one seller token on mainnet. And yeah, the primary sales or the recipient address would be my own address. There'll be royalty. You can set up the royalties. And yeah, that should be it.
Yay, and it's writing a whole contract for you. So another thing is why why I build on Celo. The gas fees are super cheap. One of the cheapest gas fees of any chain. So typically, I don't know if anyone's ever built on Ethereum like way back in the day, but deploying an NFT contract, how much do you think this might cost back in the day? I don't know.
More than $100.
Like $100. This, it's less than a sell. I don't know how much this will be. Probably like
It's
point
1/10 of a cent, I think. Yeah.
1/10 of a
Or
cent.
1 cent. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, compared to the old
I
days.
still remember I got my .eth ENS for like $120, and that's just an NFT. So back then, the gas fees were super high.
I did the same thing because I had to pay like $30 for just the domain, and then the gas fee that I paid on top of that was and that's just claiming. That's not deploying a contract. That's just claiming a contract.
Yeah.
So that can be really expensive. Yeah, it looks like it's still.
Yeah,
Did it deploy yet?
it's somewhere.
It's taking a few
It hasn't deployed yet.
seconds. Yeah, an NFT drops a heavier contract, so sometimes that might take a while.
Something else is wrong from the Thirdweb side.
Or you can
It'll
even
take this much time.
like the ERC20 contract, which sometimes maybe it's the file. Oh, it's a screenshot.
Yeah, it's a screenshot. Yeah.
Gotcha. Let's see.
Yeah, but anyways, if while this is happening, we have a different option. So we have hardhat here, and we can actually use hardhat to deploy a contract. Let's try that. Actually, let's build and compile a contract. For deploying a smart contract, we will have to export our private keys and stuff like that. But let's wipe code and compile a smart contract. So if you see our hardhat project, we already have a contract called log.soul. Basically, you can use this smart contract, or you can go to OpenZap and use it.
Can we use if I already have some published contracts that I already made? Can we do like or do you have any existing Thirdweb contracts?
No, I don't have any.
I have a few, so I wonder if we can use some existing ones that
we would require two things: the smart contract writers and the ABIs. If you have that, then yeah, we can do something.
Let me. Cool. Okay, I'll just send it to you on Telegram. So, smart contract.
Okay.
Because I would love to show how you can take the exact existing like contract address. So maybe I can share my screen too. Let me just Telegram this to you. Okay, that's the contract address. And then the ABI. Let's see. And then where do I get the ABI on? Okay, I'll show you and then you can show me. Okay, so let me do. All right, so for anyone who wants to see, I made this NFT called Prove Yourself. And what I did is just the open edition ERC20. So that's on the explore page, and you can click on like deploy, this little deploy button, and just like add in everything I did and just deploy it and it works. And then so this is the address that I just sent for all. Anything, what else do you need? Do you need the API?
I can figure out the API. I can find it.
Cool. So I just sent this to him, and then you can also see this contract on Celoscan. So this is an actual NFT. So this is one of the easiest and fastest ways to just deploy an NFT really fast if you want like a good contract address. All right. With that, is that all the information that you need to integrate, do something with this in your app?
Yes. We can try out something. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, I'll go back to him, but you can also go. I want to show you. These are the write and read events that you can do. And as you can see, these all have, with Thirdweb, they all have, so anytime you want to write to it. So if you want to say something like, allow someone to send a transaction or like buy something. Or if you're trying to read, maybe you can do like balance of or something, or the name. What's the name? Read the contract, token URI, the symbol. These are all the different things that come with this contract. So all the functions and events that already come with it. And they have existing code components as well. All right, I'll add you back to this stage.
Awesome. So this is the smart contract address that Sophia shared. And the best thing about Thirdweb smart contracts are they all are verified by default. So if you see it's verified, and if you click on the contract, scroll to the very bottom, and you can see the ABI. So yeah, just copy the file, copy the content. We can go into the web and we can just create a new folder, utils. You can do abi.json. And yeah, once we have the API and the env file, I've added the same smart contract address. So all we needed was two things. Now, what we can do is maybe start creating some UI. And I found this really good article by Thirdweb that's how you can use smart wallets with WAGMI connectors. And I can provide this as a context to our LLM saying, okay, let me use some bigger model. Can you understand the content? Figure out how to use. Okay. Now that it knows how we can connect our smart wallet account with a WAGMI provider, we can interact with the smart contract.
Yeah, and also, I'll wait for you to continue. One big thing about WAGMI is if you're building in the Celo ecosystem, and especially if you're doing any of the mini app tracks, so this is like building a Farcaster mini app, or you're building a mini app for MiniPay, it does need to be compatible with WAGMI, because Farcaster has its own wallet that it uses, and it needs a WAGMI hook in order to connect to Celo. So if you're just using Thirdweb wallet, it sometimes doesn't work inside a mini app inside of MiniPay or inside of Farcaster. So this is a really good one to just make sure that it's compatible with WAGMI hooks.
Okay, it seems like I'm out of all the credits, so I'm just using the auto mode.
Oh no.
It's not a big task. I think it should be good. So, okay, all I asked him to do is understand how to create a WAGMI connector, interact with this smart contract, and provided the ABI access. And I just asked like create a UI to see all the NFTs and mint NFTs.
And so maybe if you're something new, want to explain a bit of what WAGMI is and why it's needed?
Yeah. WAGMI.sh. It's one of the latest and trending library to basically interact with any blockchain. So we had Ethers.js for a very long time. And so I was like, if you are a like crypto developer for like almost like 3 years now, you might know Ethers.js. It was very popular back days. But now it's WAGMI, and it's really good because it provides all the things like type safety, extensible, modular by design, and it's a mixture of WAGMI and VM. VM is basically a tool that is used to build WAGMI. WAGMI internally basically uses VM, and VM is more of a low-level protocol or like a library. You would use VM when you are creating something for backend. For example, if you're writing a Node.js application or a Python application, a backend application, you would use VM. But if you're using it in the front end, you would want to use WAGMI because it gives you a lot of hooks. Yeah, and the first thing you can say, it provides a lot of hooks, so you don't need to write a lot of boilerplate code. Yeah, it basically allows you to interact with blockchain in different ways.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're building, you'll have your front end. This is like the actual UI of your app. And in order for it to tell your front end, hey, here's how we want you to interact with like a contract that's deployed, right? So you have your smart contract, we'll call that the back end, and you have your front end. In order to actually connect to it and pull information and read and write, Like we showed earlier, you'll have to use some library, and we definitely recommend using WAGMI. That one's one of the most popular right now and one of the most extensive frameworks. So yeah, definitely recommend using WAGMI.
Awesome. And if your application is not front end focused, but it's more on back end, then you would want to go with VN, which is more granular in terms of what you can do with like smart contract interactions. And WAGMI basically abstract away all those difficult functionalities and give you ready-made hooks. Yeah. Okay, so it has understood that it needs to install a few dependencies. It understood that it need to install the WAGMI adapter for Thirdweb. And yeah, let's wait. So in the meantime, Sophia, if there's any questions, let me know.
Yay, I'll let you know if there's any questions that come up. Maybe we can just talk about what's the differences, maybe for someone who's completely new, between Thirdweb and WAGMI.
Okay. Thirdweb is a all-in-one platform that gives you infrastructure for all your projects, whereas WAGMI is more of like a open source tool that allows you to just interact with a smart contract. But Thirdweb has a lot of things. Like you can basically interact with wallets, you can deploy smart contracts, you can do transactions without actually using WAGMI. You can do payments, tokens. Insight is one of my favorite tool, which allows you to query any kind of blockchain data. And they support more than like 2000 plus blockchains. So any blockchain or testnet that you are thinking of, it's already indexed by and like supported by Thirdweb. Then you have account abstraction, they have their own RPCs and key management solutions. So it's like an all-in-one. You can think of Thirdweb as an AWS for crypto or Web3, and WAGMI is basically for low-level interaction with blockchain.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got some UI libraries.
As you're doing that, yeah, really interesting to learn about all of these. 100% agree. And if any of this doesn't make sense, one thing I definitely recommend is take the transcript of this video. You can paste it into ChatGPT and just start asking questions directly. So it's like, oh, why are they using WAGMI? What is Thirdweb? How do these things work? What's a front end? What's a back end? One of the best ways to just learn about building is to just start building in any place that you have a question. Leverage AI and AI tools to just get answers about what it is.
Actually, this might take time if I do it with the auto, like a small model. So I'll just revert it here and use a bigger model using something else. Wait. I'll use Windsurf, which is like an equivalent of Cursor, which I think I have more credits here. So yeah, the same project I just opened in a different folder. And yeah.
Oh, cool. We had someone asking, what is a smart contract? And so looks like, yeah, so if you're completely new to Web3 development, which is also really, really exciting, one of the best places to start, I would definitely recommend check out Biddle Guild. It can give you a really good overview of what is a smart contract, how does it interact. It is high level, just to like think about it. It's logic that's stored on a blockchain. So you can think of, yeah, that's why these smart contracts say if you have an NFT stands for a non-fungible token, and the actual contract code behind it is like a standard called ERC 721. And this is just logic for how this digital token sits on a blockchain, and why you can connect, why you can say who's the owner, why you can say how much they had to pay to become an owner, all of these things around the logic around that specific NFT, that is all stored on blockchain, which is really cool. So yeah, smart contracts, a crypto thing, or it's a blockchain, it's specifically an Ethereum thing. And yeah, here's an app on how you can leverage smart contracts within your applications. We call them like dApps, like decentralized apps, because you're using smart contracts. But what's really cool about smart contracts is they're great for vibe coding, because you have existing logic and pre-deployed like Lego blocks that other people have made. That's all stored on the Ethereum blockchain and all on blockchains. And then you, as a builder with a great idea and great creativity, you can pull from existing Lego blocks and use that to build apps, which is really cool. Great. Raul, want to talk through a little bit of what you're doing?
Yes, so now I've just ran the same command, but I knew some syntax, I'm just changing it so we save our time while vibe coding. But yeah, so basically it's creating some helper functions that would be required to make calls and fetch the data from the smart contracts. You can see it's creating more and more packages right now. And yeah, it's creating smart contract helper functions. So this particular function will basically fetch the total supply of that smart contract. This will fetch the token URI, the owner, balance of. So all these are the helper functions that it's creating right now. And we can either review every file or we can just accept all. I'd like to review all the code and manually accept the changes.
Yeah, really fast. The only reason he used Windsurf, because there's a question, why are you using Windsurf and Cursor? On Cursor, he ran out of credits to use Claude Sonnet 4. You had to pay for credits. And so Windsurf it's a little bit cheaper, right?
Yeah, it's cheaper.
It's a bit cheaper, but it's a similar tool. But it's a little bit cheaper. So that's why he had to switch over halfway through.
Okay, so now what it's doing is it can see that there are some errors in all the files. And I have linting fix errors. So it basically understands what are the problems and it keeps on fixing the issues. And by some like after 25 changes, it asks you to continue. Yeah, that's a small thing, but yeah, it understands that there are a lot of issues, syntax errors in all these files, and it's keep on trying to fix it.
As you're working on that, as it's continuing to fix yeah, right now what's happening is we're all just making the UI components so we can actually interact with this NFT from the front end. As you're continuing to do that, I'll just quickly talk about proof of ship. So as you're building any app or anything on Celo, definitely recommend you to join proof of ship. This is an opportunity for you to earn monthly builder rewards. And the more consecutive months you join, the more builder rewards you can get. And what you do is you'll just create a project profile and then you'll connect this smart contract wallet address, smart contract address of your app into your profile. And then based off the transaction volume of people transacting on your app, that actually determines a lot of the builder rewards that you end up getting. So definitely check it out. And you can also, subscribe there at celo-devs.beehive.com/subscribe.
It's just waiting time now that it's just basically it makes a mistake while writing the code and automatically fixes it. And just as we're getting because we haven't installed the packages. One common thing I've seen is basically Claude or any coding agent will directly add the packages inside your package file instead of installing it using pnpm or yarn. And in that case, they can hallucinate on the version numbers. And that is what exactly happened. So if I just do pnpm install, you can see it took a version which is not the right version for this particular adapter. It used a version. Okay, so it used this particular version, which is not available. Yeah, the latest version is this one. So there are some cases where does not give you the right number, but it will figure it out at the end. Because right now, if you see it's trying to install all the packages, now it will see that, yeah, this is an issue with this particular package, and it will come here and fix the issue. Yeah, see exactly what it's doing right now. So yeah, it understood what is the right version and will install the right version now.
Yeah. Also, while you're continuing to install this, I see a lot of questions in the chat from Bhavesh. I will say, I think some of the pre-context to this is we've been doing a bunch of on-chain vibe coding tutorials. So it does assume the audience knows a little bit about what it means to deploy on-chain and all of that about smart contracts and just like some high-level context, even if it's like not coding or technical specific context. If you're completely new and you want to know like, hey, why aren't enterprises using smart contracts, or what are the use cases around smart contracts, definitely go check out Biddle Guild. It can explain a lot of these things from scratch and give a lot of examples. Oh, this is so cool. It just popped up on your YouTube channel. Really cool. Awesome. Well, glad to have you here and excited that you came by. But yeah. How can I use WAGMI and Thirdweb for the logic and smart contracts for UI already, vibe coded and open source? What practical steps and resources do I start with? Yeah, so I think we mentioned a little bit earlier in this workshop in case it wasn't seen. But for Thirdweb, you can just go to thirdweb.com/explore and you'll see a bunch of different existing contracts and standards that are already there. You can connect to your account and you can click deploy and you can actually get that contract. And Viral showed inside his app, he just added that contract address and then he added the ABI. So you'll go to, you'll find it on CelloScan, scroll down, find the ABI, and that's all in the video before, and get that ABI.json. Then what you'll do is you have to make it compatible with WAGMI, because WAGMI is a library that takes your front end and your components, your React components, and makes them in a way that you can actually interact with a contract and call, read, write, and call contracts. And so, by doing that, you can, WAGMI just allows you to interact with smart contracts in your application, in your UI. So yeah, I would definitely watch this. This video is all going to be recorded and on our Cello YouTube under live streams, so you can continue to watch, and then you can just skip through it and get to the good parts of walking step by step if you want to recreate this. And then typically what we'll also do is after these workshops, we'll create a nicer YouTube video that just like lays it all out in a quick like 20 minutes of how to build some of these things for people to get started. But yeah.
Yes. Okay, so now it's at a stage where it does not know the latest syntax for Thirdweb packages, and this is exactly what's happening right now, that it does not know how to figure out the chain ID or the chain object from Thirdweb. And this is a very common thing you will face with all the new packages or all the new tools you're using. And the best thing you can do is go to the documentation, figure out the exact page, and provide it as a context in the conversation, saying, please go and understand how it works and then fix my code. But yeah, this is something that I've seen a lot of times happen. And yeah, you will face this issue in the future as well. Sophia, I think this will take more time. Even it's trying to create a way more complicated UI, like with all this gallery, card, NFT, and stuff like that. So maybe we should do a Q&A like for last 10 minutes.
Yeah, let's do a Q&A for the last little bit. Maybe let's just go over high level what happened, like during the whole thing. What is Thirdweb, and then how did you connect that contract to it, and what's it trying to do?
Okay, let me keep sharing my screen. Yeah.
And then another question. Yep, just add it here. We have, why not use Perplexity and provide the LLM guidance? Yes, you can do that too. One thing is that LLMs right now don't have that much on-chain context history. So if you want to build on Celo, if you want to use some of these tools, it doesn't have all that history because it's not trained on that history. So that's why we have the Celo MCP that has all of these things already embedded that you can easily use and call and connect with.
It's great that you mentioned Perplexity because okay, I have Windsurf open, so I'll show you in Windsurf. Like if you can go to Windsurf settings, you can see Open MCP Store, and it has all the big or famous MCP servers ready to install, and Perplexity one of it. In my personal coding editor, I usually always have Perplexity on. And whenever there's a syntax error, I just write as a prompt saying, if you don't know the exact syntax, just ask Perplexity. And in that case, Perplexity will figure out the right syntax from the documentation and provide it as a context to the Cloud or Windsurf. It's like one of the must-have MCP server if you are a developer and white coding something.
Yep.
So yeah, giving a quick rundown on what we did. So we basically used Celo Composer. Celo Composer is a starter kit or a tool that we've been creating to basically reduce the time that it takes for a developer to create their project. So usually, if you are a person who creates a lot of POCs, or if you just have an idea and you want to build something, it would eat up your initial 3 to 4 hours to just set up the project, set up the authentication system, set up the deployment and stuff like that. So we have created this tool, Celo Composer, which basically does everything for you in one line. And we have added a MCP server on top of it. It's called Composer Kit MCP. So now your LLM knows how to use Celo Composer. And your LLM can basically write prompts or commands and create a new project with all this different third-party Web3 like developer tooling installed by default, and you can leverage that to build on top of it. So in this project, what we're doing is in just half an hour, we were able to create a project with authentication, and we have already started integrating smart contracts. And yeah, like including deploying a smart contract and integrating in just 30 minutes. That's what you need while like basically doing an POC or like testing out an idea. Right? Yeah.
Yay. And then the last part around Thirdweb contracts and how you connected the contract and the ABI.
Yes. So once you have created your Thirdweb account and your project, and if you go into this particular project, you can see you have contracts option here. And basically, this is where you can deploy multiple contracts. You can either deploy your own smart contracts, or you can just use the pre-verified smart contracts by Thirdweb. So these are all audited smart contracts, because if you are launching a smart contract, you might want your smart contract to be audited because people will be interacting with it and there might be some funds involved. So you want those smart contracts to be audited. And Thirdweb has basically I've given you a list of all the audited smart contracts. You can just click on any one smart contract and it gives you a form. Just fill out the form, give all the details, and click on deploy, and it will deploy the smart contract on behalf of your address. Your address is this address, and you'll have the API and the smart contract address with you, and you can use that for vibe coding. That couldn't get simpler than this, I think. Yeah.
Yep. And then just the ABI is enough information for your app, your front end to call, to read and write to it.
Yep, that is more than enough for an LLM to figure out what are the function names, what are the parameters that they can use to read the data or write the data to chains. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, and then the last thing, I was just going to say really quickly, the Composer Kit MCP, the Celo Composer Kit MCP, that has a bunch of UI components. So then you can use those UI components and then call the Thirdweb contract that you pre-deployed using that ABI.
Yeah. And just wanted to give a quick shout out on a few other things that they offer. The first one is Insights. And Insights is basically the blockchain database. You can think of it as a place which has all the content of blockchain indexed in a database. And they provide an easiest way to access it using an API call. So if you go into the Insights docs, you can see, you can particularly basically fetch all the transaction that has ever happened with this particular address, or basically anything that you can think of that you can query from a blockchain can be done with Insights in millisecond latency. Then you have RPC endpoints. And Thirdweb has a very generous RPC, like free tier, which basically allows you to make a lot of RPC calls for free when you create a new account. And Volt is something which is kind of a place which manages the private keys for a project or secret keys. And this is more for a backend related project. If you're creating a front end only project, which is like most of the Web3 projects, you might not need this. And it also has webhooks. So think of it as a use case where you want to copy trade a particular account. Let's say you want to copy trade Vitalik. Say whenever Vitalik buys a token, you want to buy the same token. In this case, you can just create a webhook. Same, and the webhook would be something like whenever this particular account does any transaction, give me a notification. And on that notification, you can do the same thing. And like there are a lot of like it's a whole suite of things that you can use, like mix and match to create a whole application. And yeah, using Cello Composer, you have a blank slate which has all the Thirdweb SDK pre-installed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that's really cool. That's a good overview. All right, I think with that, we'll wrap up our Cello builder stage. As a last call to action, if you're building on Cello or interested in building on Cello, highly recommend you join Proof of Ship. This is the best way to, one, connect with our Cello DevRel team, get support, get feedback on your project, connect with other people building on Cello. We've had a lot of new projects this past month of new developers who built their very first app through using the Cello MCP to deploy a smart contract, to build a front end on top of their contract. And then you can even make that into a mini app, paste it on Farcaster, and we'll be announcing our top Farcaster apps at the end of this month and doing a big campaign around it. So it's a very exciting time to build. Anyone can build, anyone can be a builder. And yeah, definitely suggest you sign up, join, and you can connect with us on Telegram or connect with us on Twitter. So yeah, if you have any more questions, we can continue discussing via Telegram or Twitter. You can find us on Twitter at X at Cello Devs. So maybe you might be watching from Twitter. This is our Twitter handle. And so yeah, go text us on Cello Devs and feel free to DM us and we can add you to our Telegram group chats and our builder group chats and send you more information about Proof of Ship. Awesome. Well, with that, thanks for all for an amazing live stream.
Thank you so much. See you. Bye.